So, we're going to talk about some law stuff. All right, so first off, something that I hear a lot of people saying is that, by claiming their natural rights, right, what you find is that your natural rights are invoked in the Constitution. They're protected in the Constitution, right? And a lot of people go into court and they try to argue about the Constitution and find that it gets them nowhere. Do you know why? Anybody have a clue why? Because the Constitution is not there to protect your rights. Your Constitution, that's the charter by which the corporation operates. Not you, right? A lot of people are going into court and trying to argue the Constitution. What the fuck does the Constitution, which is the structuring of the business contract that tells the business what they have to do, what does that have to do with your rights? Right? Everybody wants to argue about the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't have a fucking thing to do with you. This is what I don't understand when people are trying to argue about these things when it comes to matters of court. It's like, you guys don't even know what you're talking about at all. It's not the Constitution that protects you. It's the Bill of Rights. Why are you arguing Constitution? Why is everybody arguing constitutional issues when you're trying to invoke your rights? Do you see what I'm getting at here? Everybody going into court right now that you see failing in court does what? They go into the court, right? And when they go into the court, they argue their rights, but they try to use the Constitution to do so. The Constitution is for the corporation. It's the corporation's business and guidelines. It has nothing to do with your rights. Your rights are in the thing called the Bill of Rights. I see so many people going in trying to argue Constitution. You don't argue Constitution. You've got rights. You either argue what's in the Bill of Rights, or your other option, if you naturalize yourself, is treaty rights. Okay? You have treaty or the Bill of Rights. The Constitution doesn't have shit to do with you. That only has to deal with the people of the corporation. Right? Now, arguably, you could say that because you're a citizen, that puts you under constitutional law, which means that you acknowledge the fact that you're a subject of the corporation. Okay? So if you go in arguing Constitution, know that that right there is a submission of jurisdiction. What are you doing arguing constitutional jurisdiction when your rights are in your rights? Do you see what I'm getting at here? Do you see those common mistakes that are being done? You see all of these court cases, all of these people that are going up arguing rights using the Constitution. The Constitution does not protect your rights. The Bill of Rights protects your rights. But yet, everywhere I see on social media, everybody's going back to the Constitution. Everybody's going back to the United States codes. Everybody's going back to everything except for the two things that are there for your place. Right? The things that you're supposed to be focused on is your Bill of Rights or your treaty. That's where your rights are located. You have treaty rights or you have the Bill of Rights. Fuck the Constitution. That's theirs. That has to deal with USA, the United States of America. Okay, the United States of America is a corporation. That is a corporate charter. The United States codes do not apply to living men and women. They only apply to the Constitution, to the corp. That's the codes are the things that solidify the Constitution. So when you have all of these people that are telling you under Article this, under Article that, they're wasting your time. The only place that you can argue the Constitution is where? Supreme Court. If you're going to bring up constitutional rights, you have to be specific of what kind of constitution you're talking about. Is it the United States Constitution or is it the state constitution? Right? Because your state constitution is going to trump your United States Constitution. Okay? Your state's charter of how they operate will tell you expressly how the judiciary system is operating within the bounds of where you live. It's your state constitution that matters. Because you only go to what? You go to judicial court, or you go to state court, or you go to federal, or you go to Supreme. Supreme is U.S. Constitution. Federal is United States of America. State is Supreme. Okay? That's part of the Supreme. Okay? These two are your high courts. These are your low courts. Okay? These ones are operated under statutes and codes. You understand? That's your state, your federal, and your judicial. These are all organized by statutes and codes. Now, your state constitution will trump anything in those statutes and codes. The state constitution will, not the United States Constitution. Okay? That's only enforceable in Supreme Court. Right now, you got a whole bunch of people arguing the wrong jurisdictional issues, wondering why they're getting no remedies and why they're getting no answers. You get me? Does it make sense to you? You can't walk into McDonald's and demand a Whopper. You get me? You're going to go in there. They're going to give you what? They're going to give you the Big Mac. They'll give you a Big Mac, right? And then you're going to sit there and you're going to have to try to argue with them why that Big Mac should be the Whopper. That's what you're doing when you're going into any of these admiralty jurisdiction courts and arguing the Supreme Constitution. That's not their jurisdiction. You can't battle them while dealing with their bosses. You understand? The Supreme Constitution. Think about this for a minute, right? Look, right? Let's see. All right, look, right? Think about it like this. You have Supreme Court, right? Ruling court of the land. Okay? Now, Supreme Court, all right, that's Constitution. It's constitutional. Okay? Now, below Supreme Court, you have the Court of Appeals, right? And then below the Court of Appeals, you have federal court. Then below federal court, you have state court, right? And then below state court, you have what? You have judicial. Okay? This is the thing. Once again, hey, what's up? Right? This is the same thing as operating in the public and the private. Right? Yeah, all of these are fraudulent. The Supreme Court is ruling on that currently. We're already watching them go after all of these courts, okay? Because all of these courts are administrative. Okay? These are your administrative courts. These are not real courts. Okay? These are private, non-profit organizations that have Dun Bradstreet numbers. D&B. Okay? They are registered, private, non-profit 508c1As. These are private, non-profit organizations. All tax papers, even all the businesses that you work for right now, all tax papers are donation papers. Tax papers don't pay for things, they release. Okay? Now, this is the thing, right? I want you to think about it like this, okay? This is how I want you to think about it. Now I'm going to make this as simple for you as I can. Oops, shit, I erased too much. Oh, wait, did I write that on that fucking level by? Oh, what an idiot. All right. Gotta try to get rid of some of this without erasing my law. I like my little law thing, man. All right, hold on. I'm going to show y'all something real quick, right? Because y'all listening to all these people that are telling you how to argue with these motherfuckers. One, okay, first off, I want you to think about it like this, right? All them admiralty courts. You have judicial, right? State, federal. Okay? All of these are the cashier. Okay? Now, the cashier runs off of statutes and codes and ordinances. Okay? Now, this is the thing. All right? Is when you look into this, right? Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals. Right? These are, okay, Supreme Court is the owner of all of the saying contracts, which is why Supreme Court goes by the U.S. Constitution. Okay? These are your statutes, codes, and ordinances. Right? So the thing is that I'm watching all of these people online try to argue the information that the owner of the company has with the cashiers. The cashier doesn't know how to settle the books. The cashier doesn't know how to render the books. The cashier doesn't know none of that shit. The cashier just knows how to ring the shit up. You understand? You can't go in there with the cashier going in there with the manual on how to be the owner of the business and trying to discuss things with the cashier. No. Instead, you get the cashier's book, which is what? Your state constitution. Okay? The state constitution is going to give you authority over the judicial and over the state and over the federal. Okay, because all of these things are only in existence due to the state constitution. Now, the thing is that's only when you're trying to enforce something against them. You, as the living man, all of your power is in the Bill of Rights. That's where your arguments need to come from. Everybody's always talking about unalienable rights. Everybody's always talking about everything. You see, the Bill of Rights is tied into your state constitution. It's tied into the United States Constitution. Okay, that's the one thing that is called that you can claim in all jurisdictions is the Bill of Rights. Okay, because you have rights. The problem is y'all listening to everybody that's got you going into fucking fake courts that do not operate off of the Constitution and bringing in the United States Constitution trying to claim your rights. What fucking rights do you have to the Constitution? The Constitution's for businesses. Right? That's the charter of the business. What the fuck does the Constitution have to do with your rights? Your Constitution has to deal with what the business is able to do. Your rights are separate from that. Your rights trump that. That's why you invoke treaties. If you're naturally born in this land, you're under the Moroccan Empire. You're under the Moroccan Treaty. If you're naturally born of this land. All right, if your blood ties are to this land. Now, does that mean that if your parents are from Spain and they came here and your other parent is from Britain and they came here, that you don't have those rights? No. You know why? Because you were born here. So here, since you're born here, what people don't realize is the republic for which it stands is the Moorish Empire. That's what people don't understand. And so because they don't understand this, nobody is going by the treaty that was put in place for the people that were naturally born of this land. Instead, right, I seen everybody celebrating back in like 2010 that they took down the Republic flag. The rebel flag was the Republic. Okay? Look, you're in Morocco. This sorry. Means Amaruk is how you say Morocco in the Berber language, which is what the Moroccans speak. Okay? Amaruk is America. You're an American. Khan means priest of the Most High. Okay, you're an American. That means you're a Moroccan. Your rights fall under the Moroccan Treaty of Peace and Friendship. That's where your power lies. It doesn't matter what your fucking skin color is. If you were born of this land, that is where you're from. You're in Morocco. They just keep calling it America. because they don't want to say Morocco, because if they said Morocco, then you would know to go and look for the Moroccan treaty that established the corporation of the United States in 1776, which where their powers of your rights are vested in, that tell them specifically that they do not have any authority over you and that it must be handled in an international court in order if you violate the treaty. Don't be embarrassed to be a Moroccan. You've been one your whole life. You've been running around your whole life telling the entire world that you're proud to be an American. You were saying that you were proud to be Moroccan, but you were saying it in English. The Morocco that you see on the map today was established after the French Revolution. That is not the same Morocco that established the United States of America. You understand me? You're not getting remedy because you're dealing with the Constitution, which was created for the corporation, which has a Bill of Rights for its subjects. You don't even have to deal with none of this at all. On any level, you can just annex the whole entire fucking thing by claiming your Moroccan rights. All of this shit right out the window. No more bills. You understand? Go and claim your house. Bury one of your loved ones on your property so that it's yours and your family's indefinitely here on out. They can't charge you for it. They can't take you from it. They can't do shit. But do you see why nobody is getting remedy in court? Arguing the Constitution in courts that aren't constitutional? Well, Jeff, that's what I saved my father's ashes for. Good luck with that. Here, let me help you out. Peace. Run away. Look, we're not here. Look, one of the maxims of law. One of my favorite maxims. One of my favorite maxims of law. I don't have time for these people. I don't have time to argue with people that don't know how to see. Okay? I don't care. Like, if you want that matrix, you stay at that matrix. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing that I'm telling you that you can't go and look into, and you'll find the same exact answers every single time, because that's how it works. It's not something that changes or shifts. Right now, they're altering it because you have new people that have been revealing it to the public, right? And the problem is that these assholes been revealing private documents that aren't for citizens to the citizens. Now they have to restructure the whole thing. Why? Because they have to avoid the fraud of their citizens switching over and becoming nationals when they're not supposed to be, because they haven't done their service to earn it. This is an earned thing. This is not for new citizens to the United States. This is for people that have generations here. Only for people that have generations here. Stop arguing and fighting with citizens. Let the ones that want to be citizens be citizens. Leave them the fuck alone. Who cares? Let them live their life the way that they want to live it. They're fueling your freedom by their choice. It's their choice. That's the thing, is it's their choice. You have the choice to be the servant, right? Right? That's why the soul of man, Solomon, told you that they were black people. Because that was dealing with civil leader Mortus. It's a book of law. Okay? Dead in the eyes of law. Civil leader Mortus. Civil leader Mortus. You see that word in there? Civil. Civics. Law. Litigation. Notice how it was civil leader? Hold on, look, check this out. All right, y'all don't pay attention. You forget that the language you speak now comes from this. Civil leader. Mortus. All right? This is one word, okay, just so you know. This is all one word. I'm just breaking it apart for you for a minute. Civil. That's civics. Leader. That's what? That's an amount. Right? So they have no law. They have no law. They're the dead. They're dead in the concept of the living. Okay? You're done. Okay? When they call you black, that's what you're saying. You're saying that you're dead in the eyes of law and you have no rights. Don't say white, don't say black, don't fall for that shit. If you fall for that shit, you're fucked. Okay? Because look, you have to understand. This is okay, let me explain something to you. Why do you think it was that the Creator said, I am that I am, when Yaqub, we're going to say it how it's supposed to be, when Yaqub found them in the land of Peniel? Right? Why do you think it was that the Creator was I am that I am? Why do you think that there wasn't a name? Why do you think that there wasn't a name given? What do you say when you're going to court? I am hereby, right? I am, right? Why is it I am? Anybody? Anybody know? Or just put a 1 if you want me to fucking explain it. That's all right. Oh, you got the message. Okay, good. All right, why is it I am that I am? Because names, titles, right? There's a difference between a name and a title, right? But there's a similarity to it. Names, titles, these are labels, right? And what do these things do? Huh? They put you in a box. You get restrictions. Right? Think about that for a minute. Think about that. Anytime that you've given something a name, right? That name comes with what? A definition. Right? Which defines the thing that it is, which means that everything, see, in law, everything that is mentioned, everything mentioned is mentioned for a reason. Everything that's excluded is left out for a reason. What's mentioned is mentioned, and is mentioned very specifically. So when you give yourself a name, when you give yourself a title, when you give yourself a label, what you're doing is agent to principal. Right? Because now you're setting up the jurisdiction. The name, the title, the label, these are things that give you jurisdictions. Okay, that's all that they do. That's all that they're there for. You think that your name is the one that your mother gave you, right? Hold on, wait. Let me show you something real quick, right? Check this out, right? Your mom names you John Smith, right? But your friends know you as Jay. Your girl knows you as Babe, right? Your coworker knows you as Ox, right? Everybody's got a different label for you, right? But your mom that knows you as John Smith, she knows that you act this way. You act like John Smith. Your girl that knows you as Jay knows the you that acts like the you when you're with Jay, when you're with her, right? The one that you understand? Each one has a specific thought line behind it. Each one has a specific type of labeling that brings with it a principle of how you're expected to be. So if you go in, right? That's why the first thing they ask is, who are you? Right? You can give them the answer that they're, are you such and such and such? Yeah. You go, yeah. I'm John Henry. I'm John Smith, right? Or, you appear as John Smith, right? Or you specially appear as what? I am the executor. I am the agent. I am the registered agent. You see, that title, right? Everything keeps changing how you present yourself. You have the one right that everybody expresses in America is the right to self-determination. Right? The problem is all of you are determining yourselves to be citizens when you're not. You were born here. Citizens are people from other countries that are trying to gain access to America, right? The United States is a business. America is the land, right? So when you claim to be a citizen of the United States, you're telling the world that you're not from America. They're separate entities, right? So it's very important that you know what you're claiming when you're claiming who you are. Yeah, the USA versus the US. Exactly, right? So the thing is that, you guys have to be very careful and make yourselves very aware of who you really are. Because if you don't, you're going to end up claiming the wrong thing in the wrong jurisdiction, arguing with the wrong people about the wrong shit, and wondering why you feel like it never gets anywhere. It's because you didn't fucking study. Your state runs by a state constitution. It doesn't run by the Supreme Constitution. It's under control of the Supreme Constitution if you're in the state of, right? This is your magic word. This is your magic word to know what you're dealing with. Of. See, when you get in real trouble, it'll be you versus one of the people. That's the only real trouble there is. There is no trouble versus of. Who the fuck is of? You get who the fuck is this? Who is this? This is what you really. Who is of? Your Honor, who is the state of? Think about that. The state of, right? Hold on. Let me see if I got a Constitution book around here. Hold on. me show you something. And we got the Articles of we might have the Articles of Confederation. That might have it. Hold on. Look, I want to show you something, right? Because in the Supreme Constitution, it tells you flat out that the state of cannot be used as a point of authority. There's a few things, right? And people always call on the Constitution, but you focus on the wrong shit. If you try to invoke Constitution, right, you need to refocus where you're focusing. Let me show you something, because a lot of people fuck this shit up quick. Look, check this out, right? My bad. Go like that. Here. All right, right. Everybody wants to go back to the Supreme, to the fucking Constitution. All right, so we're just going right there here. Right. Everybody wants to focus on. Let's be specific. The United States Constitution. Okay, the U.S. Constitution. Right. But there's this thing, right? Is that y'all don't even know which standpoint to argue this thing. Okay, if you're going to argue the Constitution. First off, it tells you in the Constitution that nothing it tells you in the Constitution that you can't self-incriminate. So if you're going to talk about any violations of the Constitution and what the guidelines of their job is, the first thing that you should go for is you have the right to remain silent. Why? Because they tell you right there, anything you say will be held against you. So they tell you right from the bat, we're going to violate your constitutional rights immediately. Every single time. Right? They tell you flat out, straight to your face, fuck your constitutional rights immediately. Hey, watch what you say. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. But the Constitution says that you can't self-incriminate. So they're telling you right there, they're about to violate your right. They're about to violate the Constitution. You get me? They tell on themselves every single time, bro. They're taught to. They're taught to tell on themselves, and they do it, and everybody's letting them slide on it. They literally tell you flat out, and then what happens? This is the problem, right? Is everybody tries to argue the Constitution with these officers that have nothing to do with the Constitution. They're here to protect the codes and the ordinances, not the Constitution. The only part of the Constitution that they have to deal with is the fact that their job exists because of the Constitution. So they follow the guidelines of the corporation underneath the Constitution's overviewing. The problem is nobody's calling them out on the fact that the very first thing they do every time they violate your rights. Look, let me show you something else. What else is on the Constitution? Let me show you some shit, right? I don't even need to pull the Constitution out for this. We're just going to talk for a second. Look, right? Next thing they violate is that you're allowed to travel unobstructed. Right? But this is the thing. There's a loophole in that because you have an ID or a driver's license. If you have an ID or a driver's license, you are in fact operating in commerce because you're delivering their person and their person that you're delivering is being delivered for the purpose of generating revenue. The only reason that corporate entity as the United States citizen exists is for the purpose of generating revenue. So whether you're actually at work, whether you're driving a Uber, whether you're transporting somebody, whether you're bringing somebody food and it doesn't matter. As long as you have that license, as long as you have that ID, you're transporting their property. That's a job. You just haven't been paid for it. Oh, right? That's what you can call them out on, right? Because the next part of the Constitution that rolls into is the fact that there's no slavery or involuntary servitude, except unless duly convicted. You see, it's not that they're actually violating it, because you're actually operating in commerce the entire time that you're carrying their identification card, because that is a trust document that you're carrying around with you. See, so all these people that are coming on here trying to teach you about these things, what perspective are they teaching you from? Right? What are they speaking on these things and actually showing you? No, you didn't produce it, so it's not yours. You were given it as the guardian, right? You're the guardian, okay? You're supposed to register that so that they know that it's in your possession, so that they don't utilize it. And the reason that you have that is because you're a Moor. You're a Moor because you're born in Morocco. Okay? And so you're given a birth certificate and a social security number so that you can utilize these instruments, because everything that's operating here is for your benefit. It's for the Republic. You can't be part of the Republic if you're claiming to be a citizen, because the Republic is for people born of the land, not for foreigners. Yeah, you can work both, but you have to get rid of their shit first, and you have to create your own person to operate in the public. That's the thing. Duh, look. The Republic for which it stands. Republic. R-E. Means no. Republic means no public. It means it's the private. You understand me? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much since you've been since you got clocked in, you've been on the clock. Why? That's why they dropped the age of majority down to 7. That's why they dropped it down. The age of dependence. Because this is the thing, most of y'all not paying attention. This is what I'm talking about. Y'all got to learn these treaties, and you have to learn these acts that are put in place, right? Because right, the Cesta QV says that you're in military service. To the crown. Okay? And after 7 years, right now you're in the British Navy. Okay? And after 7 years of not reporting in, they automatically claim the estate. Think about that for a minute. Right now, you're registered as the British military that's over here in the United States occupying the land. So right now, after 7 years of you not claiming your estate, it's considered abandoned by the Cesta QV Act of, I believe it's 1666. What up, Ben? You get me? So, due to the fact that the Cesta QV Act is in play, your estate can be claimed at 7, right? But right now, right, as the parent, you can claim it. See, Sesta QV just means living man. Trust. Okay, it's your living man trust. All right. The thing is that you create your own Sesta QV trust after you've claimed the estate. Okay. But you see, the age that you used to be able to wait was the age of 18. Well, 17 to 18, depending on which state it was, right? 17 to 18, and you could register the estate, the minor. Okay. Notice how you went to school that was created to what? Create minors. And you thought they were talking about people that worked in coal mines. There ain't no fucking coal mines here. There ain't no coal mines here. What minors are they talking about? They were making sure that you never found out about the minor estate. That's why at 17 they had you get an ID or a driver's license instead of registering your estate with the IRS, because they created a minor and you stayed in that minor capacity. Okay? Because that's a minor estate until you reach the age of majority. And if you don't claim it, they claim it for you. And every 3 years that you're not claiming the interest on it, they're claiming that for you. Why do you think it is for all businesses that they require you to have 3 years of income to qualify for grants and things? Because each one is a new person, and each time that person gets created, you have to create once you have the business for it, your business can get grants and things, but it has to have traction. It has to have 3 years. Everything's about threes. 3, 6, and 9. Hey, what up, Jazz? This is why you claim the name. But look, let me explain it to you, right? The way that people word these things is getting people in trouble. Look, you're not claiming it, okay? We're going to go back to the maxims real quick. Okay? Oh, I could have left US up there. We'll leave US up there. Okay? You cannot claim that property. That's the United States' property. Okay? What you claim is the authority. Okay? That's what you're claiming. You're not claiming that because how's it go? What's the exact wording? Oh, how does it fucking go? That which one controls, one creates, I believe. Which one creates, or you can't control what you don't create. It's along those lines. Okay, this is the gist of it. Okay, you control whatever you create. Yeah, you know, they always tell you about all these fucking so-called rich people that don't have actual money. Right. Okay, because this is the thing, right? Living men have trusts. The trust is only... See, this is the thing, right? Is trust is only heard in equity. See, equity is for living beings. That's for man, not mankind. Okay, mankind does not have equity. None. Okay. The only way that you can ensure that you're in equity is by having it go through the trust. Trust is only able to be heard in courts of equity. It cannot be heard in admiralty. It cannot be heard in supreme unless it's a fucking court of equity, right? It cannot be heard in federal. Okay, it can't be heard in any of these. It can be heard in probate. It can be heard in the appeals court. Equity is not judgeable by law. Law has no authority over equity. Equity is the source of law. Okay? So the thing is that once you create that trust, right? Because right now you're dealing with a trust. You're dealing with in God we trust. Okay, that's the Federal Reserve. Okay? In God we trust is a literal trust. That's the Federal Reserve's trust. That's their private, it's their private non-profit 508C1A. That's what you're dealing with. All right, I'll catch you later. Well, God is a made-up concept, okay? People didn't understand that. That's a English word. Okay, everything's all jumbled up and miscommunicated because it's sloppy when it breaks down into English. I mean, you can just scream at them, but then, you know, you're not acting honorably. Honorable people don't flip out in public. Honorable people don't fucking make a mockery of their servants. Honorable people don't do these things, right? And how you gonna see? That's the thing about equity is you can't call on equity unless you're being equitable yourself, right? You have to come with clean hands. Okay, you can't be coming in there doing bad business expecting equity to work on your behalf. You can't come in there talking crazy shit acting like equity is going to back you up. That's not how that works. You get what I'm saying to you? You have to control yourself. You cannot go in there. Why do you think that one guy that goes in there screaming and yelling at the judge goes to jail constantly? He's always going in there acting out of character. You cannot do that. Bro, you don't do that. That's jurisdiction. That's immediate jurisdiction. You're immediately belligerent, combative. Right? The guy that wears the Davy Jones hat when he goes to court. He always looks like Davy Jones, that guy. I am the living man, the flesh and blood. I am God in the flesh. I am the living land that is moving, and I do not make pleas. I am not an animal. Pleas are for animals that go bad, and yeah, I am not an animal. I am a man. That guy. You know who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about, because if you're in here, you've got to have seen those videos already. Never fucking plea. You demand. You're a man. You don't fucking plea. You don't ask. You demand your servants to conduct their affairs. Demand it. It's not a fucking request. You get me? He goes to jail half the time. They let him free. Hey, look, let me tell you something, right? You'll go to jail and then they'll let you free 3 days later. Just to keep up the facade. that what you didn't work. You'll go sit in there. Because nobody's going to listen to you because you're going to look like a crazy person that just argued with some fucking lunatic shit with the judge. So they're just going to lock you up for a couple of days and cut you loose while nobody's paying attention. That's how it's going to happen. No, it works half the time. It depends on how you handle yourself. It's your conduct. Are you civil or are you uncivilized? Right? The whole reason that Rome has jurisdiction right now is because it was deemed that the land was full of uncivilized people. So you have the Roman Empire that's over here trying to keep everything fucking civilized. That's why the Roman fucking church, you get it, okay? So, bill of exchange versus a promissory note. They're the same thing. Okay, they're the exact same thing. But unless you've got your banker set up, don't fucking touch them. You don't have the authority. Okay? Don't touch. Look, you guys. You guys are always trying to do these processes, and I understand. I also tried the coupon method. Okay? I also tried to set off my bills. Okay? I tried that shit too, but I didn't have my banker. I didn't have my banker. I didn't have the Treasury Direct set up. I didn't have none of the things that were set up for me to do the shit. Okay, so it failed. Okay, don't fucking waste your time with that shit until you've got this shit figured out. Okay, that's why right now all I've done is registered the estate and created a trust. Now I have a private business. I have a private nonprofit. Okay, that's why I take donations when you want to get something from me. It's donations, always donations. Okay, so you understand, this is as far as I've taken my journey because this is the most of the stuff that I could understand at the time that I started this. Right, so I've been this for probably about a year and a half to 2 years, but I've been studying for 4. Okay, you don't have to rush through this shit. Okay. While I have this going on, so my straw man is dead. Okay? Not only is my straw man dead, but I have no address. Right? I have no job. Right? And I own nothing. Right? So I'm taking no benefits from them being here. You understand? I'm being forced to utilize their fiat, right? But that's a right that I have. That's not a privilege for me because I'm not part of their system. You're still part of their system. So you don't have the right to generate income. You have a duty to. You see the difference there? You have a duty to generate wealth on behalf of the corporation because you're signed up as part of one of their corporate wards. You're a ward of the state. All of your children are wards of the state because you don't have children. You have offspring. Right? See, the problem is you keep dealing with children. Child Protective Services has authority over children. It's right there in their name. What you never hear them mentioning is offspring because that's biological. Off the spring. You get what I'm saying to you? Think about that for a minute. A lot of you are dealing with child support. Well, who the fuck convinced you that you had a child? That's a company property. That's not yours. You understand what I'm saying to you? A child, what is child? What do you see in this? What word is that? Chilled. It's frozen. It's stuck. Wren comes from the word wren. That's a bird, which is also known as a spirit. That's a frozen spirit. That's dead shit that they're dealing with. Offspring, however, offspring is what the living have. How do you get out of it? You got to get out of their jurisdiction. You got to get out of their jurisdiction. They have ownership over your child. That's their property. You get what I'm saying to you? That's their property. Living beings have offspring. Why do you think? Because you're represented by water, right? That's why you write in blue ink, right? So you're clearly, water is the thing that they're taking into context. So if you're water, doesn't that mean that when you produce more water, it comes off the spring? You see, they tell you everything you need to know in the way that they word these things. Offspring is living. Children are frozen. Spirits. Why are they frozen? Because they have a soul contract. Right? They stomped that foot on that birth certificate. They're stuck right there on paper. See, your second entity was an estate that was created. Estate. Energy. It's an energetic state, right? The estate that was created off of your placenta. That's the part of you that was aborted. That's why you needed an estate made for you, because you died at birth. You died at birth. You did. You went from being biological offspring to a child as soon as you were born. Boop, just that quick. And they even have the body mass of all of your fucking genetic coding to prove it. Yeah, they cut the cord. That's the abortion. Even if you took it home with you, they still created it. It doesn't matter. You took it home after they cut it. You get what I'm saying to you? You took it home after it was cut. You didn't take it home attached to the baby. Your baby didn't come home intact. Your baby was abused. Right? It was abused. It went through pain and all that. Not me, censored. I sure in the fuck didn't take that shit. I was warning people about it before they fucking started advertising it. See, they got y'all confused. Everybody thinks it's this. Here, let me draw it out so that we don't get in trouble, right? Everybody thinks it's this that got you fucked up. This isn't what got you fucked up. It's the device in your hand. It's connected to something that has a G next to it. All of the problems that you're seeing now are the very reasons that it was protested that this wasn't rolled out around the world. None of that shit has to do with this. This is the look away. This is the thing that gets you to look away from all those little fucking towers they're putting up all around you. You know, with the little microphones on top of them, that pump out fucking frequencies everywhere. Because your internet comes from the cables. It doesn't come from the air. Oh. Right? And the only reason that you have to go through their corporations is because they have restrictions on the frequencies, because they can't control the frequencies that are out there. But if they give you a company that has a chip inside of it that only resonates at a specific, it can limit you from getting free everything. Everything's free. Everything, all the internet, all the TV, all the fucking shit floating around, it's all just energy. It's all free. It's all floating around all the fucking time. They've got specific things that restrict it so that you can't use free access of it. Okay? But you got to realize that these towers are your enemies. That's the enemy. This is to make you forget about it. That's what everybody seems to fucking forget, is that was, you see, that was the cover up. Because as soon as everybody went home, right? Everybody went home for COVID, right? Everybody was told to go home, right? As soon as everybody went home, what happened? They built all the towers. When you came out, when you weren't allowed to leave your house and go back into the streets until after this little symbol was put out by AT&T. AT&T was the first one. It was AT&T, then it was Verizon. Right? Nobody got to leave their houses until this was up and operating. No. I didn't say we didn't leave. I never said that we didn't leave our houses. I'm saying that they told everybody in the fucking world to stay home until this was rolled out. See, because what most people don't remember is that before that, there were videos of birds dropping out of the sky in all the test areas, right? There was the videos of all of the animals that were dropping in the test areas. Then there was the videos of the families where they originally tested it that were getting radiation poison. And all of this was because they were trying, it was all because of this. Now the thing is that people had been protesting it around the world all through, like, since 2014, I think it was, when they first started trying to roll it out. It's been on hold since 2014. It was on hold since like 2014. And then when everybody went indoors, everybody came back out, and all of a sudden it was all over the place. You didn't see what they really put you in there for? It wasn't the fucking, bro. It's not in the, yes, there is stuff that's in there, right? There is stuff that's in there that's damaging, but it's the towers that are the activation points, because it requires a specific frequency that doesn't naturally get in your body. It comes from these phones. Duh, you don't notice? Look, you don't notice? Hold on, let me show you something. You've never paid attention to the fact that you almost never see my phone in my hands? It's always on a stand. It's always away from me. I don't talk to anybody on the phone. I put them on fucking speaker. Yeah, we should, Jewel, but nobody's got the nuts. You know, I tried to get everybody to send off fireworks in the general direction of these things for, you know, the 4th of July last year, but nobody went for it. You know, I tried to have accidental things happen. Nobody fucking goes for it. Everybody's acting like a pussy. right? And they're not going to show you it actually happening, right? Meanwhile, our country's being taken over by Mexico, Iran, and fucking China, and everybody still thinks that the corporation's in charge, but we've got 4 different entire nations establishing themselves currently inside the fucking country. Yeah, China too. Yeah. Why do you think there's... Bro, why do you think you're fucking... nobody's noticed this? Nobody's noticed that... Hold on. Nobody's... It's not hard to see what the goal is. Nobody's noticed that these 2 languages have been popping up in their news feeds for like the last 2 years. Nah, there's not a bunch of people on here teaching Spanish, but there's definitely a shit ton of Mandarin and Chinese people. Right? Oh, I don't care, Steel Horse. I'm not concerned with them. I'm just letting y'all know, like, you know, there's a reason that they've got everybody learning Mandarin and Chinese and shit. Okay? It's not by fucking chance. All this shit is by design. So, well, Steel Wheel, you try it this time, because I've been trying to get people to do all that shit for years. Okay, I've been trying to get people to fucking do stuff for years now. You know, I do what I can, but I can't do everything on my own. Let's see. So back to law. Okay, that which one creates, one controls. Okay, the thing that most people don't realize is that once you start your trust, right, you have the world at your fingertips, because inside your trust, you can deliver birth certificates. Because a trust, once you establish your trust, right, and then you establish a church, you're now your own government. Now you have to create people to run your government. So you need a president, right? You need security. You need a banker, right? These are all the things. Yeah, it's a business, exactly, right? So you have to have all the positions for your business, right? Except now it's all on you. So it's on you to provide all the things for your shit, right? This is why you can, once you do this, you've basically established your own nation. Okay? That's why you find Mormon have their own land. Jewish have their own land. Catholics and the Christians are mixed in, okay? Because those are servants, okay? But then you have the Amish, right? Notice how you never see, you don't see Mormons in jail, you don't see Jews in jail, you don't see Amish people in jail, you don't see none of them in jail. Why? Because they have their own fucking government. You have to create your own constitution. That's your business charter. Right? That's your business charter. You have to create your own constitution. You have to deal out your own birth certificates for your tribe. Right? Now you understand how you create your own person. Okay? That's how you create. Each one is your own person. A person is not the same thing as people. See, people. Peep hole. Let your I be single. Person. A part of the creator. Okay? You're the sun, because man is physical and woman is man's physical and woman is the exchange of information, right? So you're all men. You're all man. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. That's not what we're talking about here, okay? Man per son. Per son. A little bit of the Creator. Not the whole thing. Per. A little bit. A part of. Okay? No, there were none that are created. Bro, get out of here with that fucking... You got to lose that whole brainwashing that people were born in labs and shit like that. That was a cover-up for stolen children. I really wish that y'all would let go of this white people were created in fucking labs stupidity. Okay? The ones that were created are the persons. Those are the created. They operate under the color of law. Right? That's why it's we're looking for a black man, white man, Asian, Indian, colorful. Okay? You guys gotta stop believing the fairy tale parts and focus on reality. The reality is that they told you, look, let me help you out with this, because it's the fact that you don't fully comprehend the system, that you don't fully get why they made the lie about people being born in labs. Okay? Because I can show you that Great Britain itself, boy, that place is a dirty place. They had a job called spiriting. Okay, spiriting was the job of stealing children. Commissioned by the crown. It was a royal position. Okay, now when they spirited, they stole 160,000 children and sent them to America. Okay? 160,000 children, and they sent them to America. The reason that this was done, and you'll find that the same exact time that they were sending their kids over to America, they were giving American stories of what? Test tube babies. Test tube babies and Cabbage Patch Kids. You know why? Because if they told you that they were born in Britain, they could not be seen as native to America. They could not claim land. They would have no native rights. Nativity rights, okay? By telling you that those stolen children were born in labs on American soil, that gave them birthright. Which gives them what? The ability to have the Republic create birth certificates and social security numbers for all of the stolen babies. Meaning that all of the children, now think about that. Each one of these is an estate, right? The republic for which it stands supported all of the people that were naturally born of the nation through the estates that were given to them for them to utilize in the corporation. So by having you think that 160,000 babies were born on this land, that gave 160,000 estates away. That generated wealth and income. It's not mixed race shit, bro. Shut the fuck up with that stupid shit, dog. Like, stop doing that. Stop with the racist shit. Stop that shit, bro. It's all about getting access to the funds that were naturally in the land. It has nothing to do with mixing. The country was like 40, I want to say 70% colored folks, and everybody else was either mixed or came from somewhere else by invitation. By invitation. It was the crown that did everybody dirty. Everybody was welcomed here because our ancestors were smart enough to know that you can't keep the same bloodlines within the confines of the country. And so they set out around the world to try to find other people of other bloodlines to mix with so that they didn't create genetic deficiencies. They've got you working against your own family. The country was mixed before Britain even got here. By the time that Britain got here, the country was already heavily mixed for over 600 years. That's why they made Jim Crow. When have you ever seen them make a law for something that wasn't already taking place? They made the law because of the fact that the country was heavily mixed. They created it and then had their operatives go around and attack the colored people of the country in order for the colored people to start warring with their own family members that they had invited over, that they had been mingling with, which created the divide between the people. The divide was created. Why do you think there's so many people that you call YT, so many people that you call black, that all have the same last names? They want you to believe that that's because of indentured servants. No, it's because of the fact that these were families that were being divided. No, it wasn't to bolster their numbers, bro. It was never about the numbers. It was always about gaining access to the estates, the wealth of the land, tying in blood rights, because the fight was for, look, this is the thing, right? The Pope, okay? The Pope released the doctrine of discovery. Okay, this is what sent Columbus and them back over here. Sorry. Okay, the doctrine of discovery told them that anybody that they found was basically a savage, okay, and that they had the right to claim the land, right? And so Spain and France had been over here battling since the 1400s, okay? The thing is that what Spain and France did was, Spain was the Arabs. Okay, those were the Khazarian Jews, the Khazarians that turned into what you now think are the Jews of the United States. Okay, the Khazarian Arabs were the Spanish. Okay, those were the ones that were exiled, that were coming over here. They were getting the boot out of the country where they were at, as usual, because they do every 10 years or so. They were getting, every century basically, they were getting the boot out of another nation that they had drained, okay? So they were getting sent over to America to become this problem over here rather than them dealing with them over there. So what they were doing was breeding, right? They had breeding camps, right? And they would breed with the people of the land so that they would be able to claim the nativity, because that was the only thing that would give them higher jurisdiction than France, was having blood ties to the natural people of the land. That's why the breeding of the lines was necessary. That's why they were forcing it on the people, okay? It's because the blood right trumps all others. Okay, blood rights trump birth rights. Okay, so the Spanish were breeding with them. They were given an area that used to be Haiti, which used to be fucking Florida, which then became Mexico. Mexico is the land that was provided to Spain in order to grow its little population. Okay, now The French and Spain were dueling over what was known as Mexico. Mexico is what you now consider to be the entire bottom half and most of the right side of the United States. Most of the left side, I'm sorry. Okay, most of the United States now is what was given to Spain at the time to grow Mexicans. Mexicans were the mixtures that Spain had created. Mexicans are not from this fucking land. That's why they're Spanish. Okay? They're not the Mayans, they're not the Incans by anything except for forced mixing. Okay? They're Spanish in origin. Now the French were the ones that went into what? Louisiana and the Bayou. Okay? They learned what? Creole, which is a form of Hebrew. That was one of the original languages. Okay? So then you had Spain and France dueling over the area that is now the middle of the United States was the area that they were dueling over, which was when Napoleon went to Egypt. Okay? Napoleon conquering Egypt was the French that were conquering the Spanish here in the Americas. Okay? That's why Napoleon was the one that got the Louisiana Purchase. He was the last one to receive the Louisiana Purchase, was Napoleon, because that was what he gained when he was fighting France in Egypt, which was what you now call America. See, if you go to any other search engine outside of America and search for Egypt, it comes back to Allah, Alabama, God's land, Alabama, Allah. That's Egypt. Okay? So the thing is that once, Britain followed behind Spain and France. Britain caught the message from Spain and France. That's why when Britain started coming over, they just dumped 160,000 children on the shores. Why? Because by doing so and then convincing the public that they were born in labs, that gave them a fresh dose of nativity with a whole brand new bloodline. You understand me? They weren't created in labs. They were stolen. Okay, these are these weird ass motherfuckers that think that they own land and that they own the earth and that they own people and all. It's these weird motherfuckers, yo. They really think that they own you. I'm so sick of the blatant fucking stupidity that I see when it comes to these orphan train stories and shit like that. It's so easy to see the passage and to see the reason why and to see exactly how it was done, but nobody wants to look at the truth. Everybody wants to keep going. Everybody wants to keep trying to say the other side of the world is lesser than the other side of the world. What part of your ancestors don't you understand that everybody was created equally? Who do you think wrote that in? It wasn't the new people. Everybody's always trying to argue this crazy shit about, black people are more important than white people. Motherfucker, these are law terms. Both of y'all sound stupid arguing this shit. Because both of y'all, neither one of you has any rights. Neither one of you, it's not a logical conversation. You understand? And, can't nobody come on here and say that I favor one side more than the other. My mother is Irish and French. You understand? Her family came out of Texas. That means that they came from them orphan trains and they came from them stolen children. My father's bloodline, however, is directly tied into this land. Okay, my father is colored. Okay, I don't deal with racism and bullshit because it's stupid and a waste of time. We got better things to do. Okay, there's better shit that we could be doing. And not for nothing, but most of y'all are just arguing with your own family members and you don't even know it. Most of y'all are fighting, beating the sleeves off of, unaliving all these people that are brainwashed racist. Bro, that shit lasted for one generation. That shit lasted for one generation. There's some lasting effects of it. Don't get the game twisted. That was a very powerful thing that they put out there. Okay, the doctrines that they put out, the Willie Lynch letter. Right? The Willie Lynch letter that was said to be aimed towards the American Negro, which was actually just a cover because it was literally being done to everybody, because if you can't beat them, join them. All right. That's literally the Willie Lynch letter has been applied to everybody. The Willie Lynch letter wasn't even real. The Willie Lynch letter didn't exist when they tell you that it existed. It existed the moment that they released it. And it's based off of Hermetic principles. It's a very, very thorough fucking document on how to create indentured servants. It is thorough. It is perfected psychology is what it is. Okay. It's a very dangerous document. But the thing is that once they fucking released that shit, they released that shit back, the internet was already out. Once they released it, everything started falling into place. It was the releasal of the document that made it real enough to work, because all they had to do was pair the document with their Hollywood bullshit and show you a bunch of lynchings and a bunch of violence that never even happened. They give you violence and things that never even took place. You know why it didn't take place? You're going to sit here and tell me that that the first president was colored. There were mixed people in office. There were women in office. And there were some Europeans in office. All of these people were already in office in government. You mean to tell me that during the 1800s up to the 1900s, even though Congress was mostly colored people, even though the government in every single state was colored, you think that there was a bunch of Europeans running around just stringing people up? Come on, man. That doesn't even make sense. You know why? You want to know what the real truth of it was? That the colored people were the ones that owned the slaves. It was the colored people that owned the slaves. The problem is they treated them good. Because this is the place where everybody was being civilized from, right? So we went out and found out that the rest of the world wasn't civilized due to the people that had been annexed from here, which you call Yaqub or Jacob, right? The house of Israel, okay? That was the people that got kicked out of here for trying to make themselves gods over the other living beings. That's what they were kicked out for, because it was horrific to think that they would try to deify themselves instead of just raising people up to be good people and shit, right? And so because of the fact that they wanted to deify themselves, they got the fuck kicked out. They're like, nope, you gotta go. So they ended up over there in fucking Skull Island and shit. Okay? And what you now call Africa, right? Why do you think the Ethiopian Bible is in Africa, but it's the worst place that you can go to out of everywhere on the planet. There's not too many places that are worse off. I mean, they're fixing things now, but it's pretty bad over there. That's because of the destruction of it. That was because of the destruction of Christianity. If you notice, the entire other side of the world is always at war. Because their entire system is based off of the people that got exiled, which were war-torn people that wanted to conquer, which is why they're always coming back here. And trying to take the land from the people from here. You understand me? You see, you have the Native Americans came from them, okay? They came later on, okay? Before the natives were existing here, you had the Ming Dynasty that came here in the early 1400s. That's how the people from here even found out that there were people in the other parts of the world in the first place. That's why they started spreading out and looking for people. The Ming Dynasty was over here back in the beginning of the 1400s. The Pope and them didn't find out about it until the 1470s to the 1480s is when they found out that America existed. But that was only found out through the maps that the Ming Dynasty had made prevalent over there on that side of the world. So the natives came to replace the ones that had already been mixing with the Moors. Okay? The natives are the replacements. You see, there was dark-skinned. The Moors, the people of the land were dark-skinned, but they had been mixing with the Asiatics that came from the Ming Dynasty, which made lighter-skinned people, which made it so that they were able to infiltrate when they were bringing new Chinese people with Spain and France. So the new ones that claim nativity now that only have spoken fucking history only have spoken history because they're not carved on the stones and they're not a part of the originals that were allowed here. They came to conquer. That's why we have such big beef with them right now. That's why they're so racist. That's why the Mexicans are so racist. It's because they were part of the groups of people that were coming over here being convinced that the dark was bad because that was the original and that they were supposed to be replacing them. You understand? That's what it's all been about, due to the fact that the original Moors had gotten the boot. This has been an ongoing battle between the families for way before the United States was even created. Back when the land was called Haiti. Haiti. Okay? You think that Haiti ain't across seas? I don't even know how they're fucking deporting the Haitians, because the Haiti was literally the central of fucking America. And I don't mean central as in, you know, down in the lower parts. I mean, what you call the United States was called Haiti at one time for a very long time. It's a fucking empire. Now, how you think I learned all of this stuff? By studying the law. That's all it was. All I did was follow the law and the money and the stories that they gave around it, and it was easy to see what they were making up to cover for the fuck shit that they were doing. It wasn't complex. It's very simple. Once you realize that it's all about this fake thing called money, not all white people are from Europe necessarily. You know, it's not like that specifically, okay? Like, you say that, but you say that like you don't know that there's black Europeans as well. Okay? So, this is why you're seeing all these big beefs on TikTok and all these social medias between us and the now Native Americans. See, the now Native Americans deny our existence completely. right? Meanwhile, I'm darker than all of them, and I'm a first generation mix. I'm the first generation with European blood in my entire family bloodline. Everybody else in my family, I've gone through the census records and everything. Every single tribe from the fucking the Trail of Tears, I have ancestors born in those tribes, of almost all the tribes. Because, and that's the other thing, is like the tribes knew that they had to mix with other tribes in order to avoid birth defects. You forget, these are people that dealt with magnetism, sacred geometry, nature. The Dark Ages is when black people ruled the world. That's what they called the Dark Ages. See, it's the thing is that what you see when you're seeing the videos and the images of a town full of people going out and hanging one person, you know what you're really seeing there? You're seeing the fucked up slave masters getting their fucking shit. That's what you're seeing. It's the reversal. They've got you looking at everything backwards. The reason why you think it takes a whole entire town full of people to hang one person, it's because they were the fucking masters of all of those people. You understand? It's not that they were just going around hunting black people the way they make it out to. No, those were the slave masters. The thing is that you had really good slave masters that were civilizing people, that had people well-dressed, well-fed, living and learning how to operate in a society. And then you had those monstrous motherfuckers that like to torture people, cut their genitals and all that type of shit off. Like, bro, that wasn't exclusively the new people coming to do that. If you go and look up the records of all the people that were being hung, all the slaves that were being hung back in the like 1800s, 1700s, early 1900s and shit like that, they're all white people from Europe. They're Spanish, they're British, they're fucking they're Europeans. All of them. There's almost no fucking black people that are listed on public lynchings. You know why? Because they were the fucking owners. They weren't the slaves. That's the part that everybody's missing. And that's the part that's building up this false narrative with people that are European that make them feel so comfortable within this system, is the fact that they've erased the fact that they tortured and tormented them beyond no extent, making it so that you blame everything on the people that are from the land that were actually freeing you, rather than the people that had brought you here that you're standing on the side of right now. You get me? That's what they don't want. What they have created, which is white and black America, to find out, is the fact that the black Americans were saving the white Americans from the indentured servitude and from all of the torturous, fucked up shit that was going on across seas. That's why every time that you see a lynching, you see almost an entire town full of people. Would you like to see the court fucking documents telling you that the Moors own over 1 million acres of land and that there's over 340,000 farms that were owned by black people? This was not a land that was fucked up until the system came. And the sad part about it is the very people that got everybody free are the ones that get it the worst in this country right now. Why do you think it is that they're constantly trying to keep the black and white narrative going? It's because of the fact that if you figure out that you're fighting your own family members, you're probably going to stop doing that shit. It only lasted one generation. They only had one fucking generation worth of this shit, okay? It was a good little run that they had of their little fake racist bullshit, right? But that shit only lasted from the 1930s to the 1960s. That's as long as they could maintain it. You know why? Because pretty much everybody was like, yeah, that's not how this is. That's just wrong. Nobody, it was like, how, like, you know, like, it was just wrong. Now, don't get it twisted. It had started a little bit further back. You know, the fuel of it was back in like the 1870s all the way through the 1930s. Okay, they were building up to it, but it only lasted through one generation. It only really lasted for one generation. They tried to force it in the 1930s with their TV and their radios. That shit lasted a max of 20, that's 30 years of bullshit that they were pumping into the fucking main society before everybody was like, yeah, we're not doing this. We're not beat. Why do you think it is that, and this is really going to fuck some people up, right? The reason that what you call white women have such an affinity towards black men is this reason. It's because most of them were raised by them. Most of them were saved by them. And they were the ones that were protecting them for the ones that were selling them as pieces of property on open markets. And they were brought home, and, you know, some of them got married. Some of them fucking had families. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is why they created Jim Crow. This was the real reason why they created Jim Crow. It was because of the fact that everybody was starting to mix. It didn't matter, the white guys and the white women. Everybody was mixing back then. Nobody gave a fuck because this was never a land of color. This was never a land of color. This was never a land of rich and poor. None of that shit existed here. Okay? This is the land of the free and the home of the brave. None of that shit existed. They only, think about it, they only create laws for things that are out of control. They didn't want everybody coming over here and getting in bed with the Moors, because if they got in bed with the Moors, that got them free. Hey, what's good, man? What's good, Devin? What's the question? So you've got new replacements that are trying to replace the old people that were literally tied into the land through love. The Ogun people of Egypt, I would have to look into them. I focus mainly on the people here in the Americas, my friend. This is where my family ties to. This is where my blood lies at. I haven't really ventured into too much of that type of history on the other lands and shit like that, because my main focus is getting people to wake the fuck up here. So like, you know, I'm not concerned with what happened over there necessarily, except for how it affected here. You get me? I see you. I get that, bro. But look, you have to understand, you're looking at things from, you know, you're not looking at things from a global perspective. We had Moors, we had Moors, then we had Moors. Okay? Now, the Moors is still pronounced Moors, still pronounced the exact same, right? But this is a tribe. This one is an actual family. And these are the invaders. These are your Spanish, your French, your German, your Russian, your Manchurians. These are all the other ones that came over here. Who created commerce? The Moors did, but see, this is the family, right? This is the family of Moors that owns over 100, I think it's like over 1 million acres of land in the Americas. The Moors family does. That's why you keep hearing people arguing about the bloodlines. Okay? Because the Moor family is what you would call your Olmec, your Incans, your Cherokee, your Choctaw, Yamasee, Mayans were made up. The Mayans were made up. The Aztecs were made up. Those were names that were given. Okay. And then you have the Moors. That was a different tribe, right? This is a different American tribe that came from Mu. Okay. Now, the Mu people are not the same as the Moor family. Yeah, there's more that go on here. You know, there's Choctaw, Chickasaw, like, you know, it's all the original tribes. Okay, they all congregated under the Moors, the family, and that was how they represented government. That's the republic. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so these, all right, so the Moos, which became the Moors, these are your, I think I'm spelling this right, Haiti, which is your Haitian people. Okay? I believe those were the Haitians, was the Mu people. Well, nah, it's not spelled with the H. I thought it was A-Y-I-T. Haiti. A-I-Y-I-T-I. Sorry. Am I incorrect about that? H-A-I? Okay. I thought it was, hey, look, L. Look, Boyd. I thought I was right. I was close, man. I just added an extra I in there. Okay? But yeah, so, you know, what you see right now on the map, the Morocco that you see on the map, is not Morocco. That's why it's spelled Morocco. It would be spelled Amaruk if it was Morocco in the language of the people. But these are the Arabs that came after the French Revolution. Okay? Where do the Berbers come into play? Those are the Moors. The Berbers are the Moors. This is the word Morocco in Berber is Amaruk. You get me? So, you know, I know that this shit can get confusing because they've done a good job of swapping all these fucking names around and trying to rechange people's titles and all that type of stuff. Follow the treaties. Follow the treaties and follow the idea of wealth, and you'll have the explanation of all of the true history. You don't have to buy into the bullshit that they feed you. Mm-hmm. Exactly, Bug. There's not a lie that doesn't have truth to it. You just have to be able to use your discernment to see. The problem is you have to be able to think about things from the aspect of the people that were doing it. And that's where a lot of people fuck up, right? A lot of people fuck up in life only being able to see things as far as they would take it. Right? Everybody always underestimates their enemy because they always put their own restrictions, morals, spell it right, moral, right? Everybody always puts their own restrictions on what other people are capable of doing. You can't do that. You don't know how far somebody's willing to take things to accomplish the things that they're willing to do. Right? That's when you have that stupid argument. Oh, they would never. Right? That's where that dumb argument comes from. That they would never bullshit. That comes from you doing the same thing that they're doing to you, which is assuming and presuming. That shit will get you fucked up, assuming that other people won't do you as dirty as you wouldn't do them. You got me? You can't sit there and be at war with somebody and not realize that you're even at war. And look, I know a lot of y'all like this motherfucker. I know a lot of y'all support him and think that he's doing stuff on behalf of the Republic, but he's not. And he does not like colored people. You forget he was raised in Jim Crow times, and he had all kinds of charges pressed against him for how he was treating people of color in his businesses. You see, y'all like, oh, he was hanging out with all the rich and famous people. Yeah, what's the fucking main... What's the main rule? What's rule number 1? Everybody forgets rule number 1. That shit ain't have nothing to do with him actually liking them. Because the narrative of the corporation at that time was recruit anyone that can make a problem. And back then, they didn't really have the medication to dumb everybody down. You understand? Bro, everybody wants to focus on fucking Epstein list. Dog, you're talking about the guy that hosted Miss America pageants that was ages 14 to 18, that told you on national television that he liked to reach out and grab, that has an ex-wife that took him to court saying that he had an affinity for younger, because he wouldn't even touch her due to the fact that she was so old until he forced himself to, which he got away with because it says that you can't force yourself on your wife. You understand? While he was bumping fucking Miss America pageants. You don't see the pattern here? The guy that was hosting the Miss America pageants was meeting up with the guy that had the island No, most men aren't the same. Shut the fuck up. Don't even talk like that. That's disgusting that you would think that. How is it that y'all take, no, most wives don't know. No, most of y'all are just too lazy these days to keep up with your husbands. Right? Most of y'all want to wait until after you get the divorce to go and work on yourselves and self-improve and shit and wonder why your guy starts looking in other directions because you gave up on you, so why should he? Keep pushing. Most men don't think like that. It's sad that you would take the most disturbing examples of men and try to generalize the rest of us in the same category with these horrific people. No. You think I have no idea? Do you think that I just now started talking to people? No, I've been basically therapist. I've been a drug rehab. I've taken people off the streets. I've turned prostitutes into well reformed fucking civilized people that got them clean off of heroin, meth, motherfucking every drug that you can imagine under the sun. So I've heard all kinds of atrocious stories. Trust and believe, I've heard all of them. And yes, there are a lot of fucked up people. But y'all don't go for the good ones. You understand? It's not like y'all go for good men in the first place, nor do y'all keep up on yourselves when you get a man. It's like y'all quit. Most of y'all quit these days, and that's just the facts. Like, like everybody wants to blame everybody else, but if you don't care about yourself, why would you expect your significant other to? That's the main problem in relationships right now, is that y'all get miserable with yourselves. You'll start to beat on yourselves about your appearance. You'll start to beat on yourself about your weight, but you'll gain it and you'll start looking as unattractive as you claim yourself to be, but you won't do nothing about that. And then as men, we have to hear how miserable you are with yourself until we get sick of hearing of it, because you just ruined our image of you by your own fucking self-loathing. And you took the fun out of being in there, and you made us feel stupid for being attracted to you because of how you act about yourself. But you didn't go and fix that. Instead, you let it become a problem in your relationship. I'm not the guy you want to talk to about these things, because I get straight to the point, and I'm not here to save feelings. I'm here to save lives. So I'm not worried about how it makes you feel, but I'm going to give it to you straight. Because I guarantee if I go and click on your profile right now, you don't look like somebody I would probably be attracted to. You're probably going to look like somebody that I wouldn't think to even speak to twice, because they don't take care of themselves. And if you do look like you take care of yourself, it's probably after you were single, when you convinced yourself you didn't need anybody because you got left for not taking care of yourself. Now look, this is the thing, is I don't need a wife. You see, that's the thing, is that y'all think that we need y'all. We don't. We need y'all when it comes to procreating. Outside of that, I'm solid in my foundation. I don't need anybody. I don't need a man around me to help me get things done. I don't need a woman around me to help me get things done. You understand? I don't know if you know me, but I've been on TikTok for about 5 years. I've helped millions of people. I've been on my mission regardless of whether I was in a relationship or not. I don't love being single. I would love to have somebody around me, but my peace is more valuable to me, so that I can accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, than having to deal with somebody that's got a broken mentality that I have to repair. That requires time. And I would rather fix an entire nation at a time than one individual. I tried that. It got in the way. You understand? I would love to have somebody to come home to, but it's not going to make or break me if I don't. Trust and believe. You think that I've had millions of followers and I haven't had any options over these last 5 years? You serious? I'm a leader. I'm a leader. I build. I grow, I expand, I conquer, I fucking move through life like I'm a force of nature that can't be reckoned with. You understand me? I don't have time for bullshit. You get me? Every time I start talking to a female, it's very rare that it's not a bunch of drama and bullshit. I think you would much rather me be taking care of the country than me taking care of one individual. You get me? I've been building a country. I've been trying to build my tribe. I've been trying to bring people back together. I've been trying to rebuild family. I've been trying to rebuild a structure that is fundamentally prosperous for everybody that is involved in it. I can worry about, you guys are my family. You get that's the part, is you guys are my family. So I don't have to fucking build a family. I have a massive one all around me. I love y'all motherfuckers. You get me? Hey, more and more. Right, project. Work on yourself. Increase yourself. The fact that you're carrying around that negativity towards men inside of you is going to be the thing that hinders you from being able to have the relationship that you're seeking in the first place, and you are seeking it. That's why you're so disappointed in men, is because you want it. But you have the ability to acknowledge all of the great things that men have provided for you, or you have the ability to focus on all of the horrific things that you might have gone through. The perspective that you choose to take is the one that's going to lead you to the path that you're going to have to go down. Now, you can fill that and fill your head with all these ideas of all these horrific men and keep drawing them to you and keep attracting them to you, because as far as your mind knows, you're telling the universe that that's what you like, because that's the thing that gets you the most emotional response. And so the universe's only position is to provide with you something that gets you off. It gets your energy going. Because the only thing that you're here to do is feel the feeling of what it feels like to go through the experiences. So if you keep harping on all these negatives, your brain is going to take that as you telling the universe that that is the thing that you're looking for, because that gets you the most energetic response out of this existence. This is why you can't carry around this ideology. This is why you weren't supposed to be taught about bad things, and this is why you're supposed to be humbled and realize that everybody's a part of you, so that you're more kind to others, because the things that you think of others are the things that you'll experience. If you're disappointed in all parts involved, then you're looking at this completely wrong. Look, let me explain it to you like this. Let me give it to you like this, right? This world is perfect. You just don't see it because you refuse to see it. Let me ask you something. Let me prove it to you real quick. Because y'all carrying around all this anger and shit for absolutely no reason. Let me ask you something. Are you being hunted by ICE? Just answer me these questions. Are you being hunted by ICE? Yes or no? And this is all you get. Don't give me nothing but yes or no answers. Just yes or no. Are you being hunted by ICE? Okay. And right now, in this moment, are you being beaten? I don't think so, because you're on here, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think any of you are being beaten in this moment, so you're good on that one, right? Is somebody stabbing you for a religious purpose right now? Now, just follow along. I know I'm asking questions, but just follow along with this train of questions for a second. Just give me 1 minute to borrow your mind. Just let me bring you into my mind real quick. Okay? Are you being raped right now? Are you drowning right now? Are you getting attacked by an animal? Is somebody pulling out your fingers? Like who's pulling out your fingernails? Is somebody pulling out your fingernails right now? Just answer these questions. Stay along with me. If I see that you're not and you're ignoring my questions and not participating, I'm gonna block you. Because this is the most important thing out of everything that I've fucking spoken to you to. And if I'm taking the time to speak to you about it, you should be able to pay me attention because I'm giving you mine. Now, let me ask you something. If you, matter of fact, let me just tell you, if you answered no to these questions, right? These are a lot of questions. This is a lot of really, really real questions. Okay? Somebody, not you, is going through that right now. What the fuck do you have to be upset about? Where the fuck is your existence so horrible? Why are you telling me that things are so bad for you? Huh? Why is it that you're sitting here complaining about all the things that are nothing in comparison to all the examples of things happening to people all around you, not happening to you? Remember, see, the universe is trying to show you. It's trying to show you. It's trying to show you that you have a great existence. You just don't fucking appreciate shit, do you? The universe has been giving you example after example, and they're getting more and more heavy because right now more and more people are convincing themselves that they're living horrible fucking lives. You keep getting, every single day, things keep getting more and more crazy due to the simple fact that you're not happy. How much fucked up shit has to be produced in the world before you start to be happy with what you have? If you don't know how horrific these things are that could be happening to you, feel free to give me your address and I will help you experience half of this list so that you can appreciate the fact that you survived through it. Who is Aikita talking to? Aikita, who is selling stuff in here? What are you talking about? Are you still... Matter of fact, here, let me help you out because you're sitting here, you know, it seems like, you know, you might need some time to yourself. Because this is not a difficult concept by any means on any level, right? Visibility restricted. Whatever. Like, yo, like where you live at, yo? Where you live at? I'll have somebody, like, yo, like where you live at, yo? Where you live at? I'll have somebody come and remove your toenails right now. I guarantee you I know somebody that's in your area that's a borderline lunatic that I could probably get to come over and help you remove your toenails if you don't understand how good you have it. Life is not challenging. There's nothing challenging about this shit. There's nothing... Look, this is life, okay? This is life. Life is frequency. It's energy and motion. There's always going to be ups and downs. The thing is if you notice, right? That energy only stays within a certain bounds, right? And while it's in those bounds, there's ups and downs in those bounds. But that means that, you see, every time you want something, oh, I want a house. All right, well, you got to lose something of equal. Every time that you want something, right, you come up with something else that you want. Oh, I want that fucking fancy ass car. The vroom vroom. Okay, so now you lost your apartment, right? But then you got the car, but now you want that fucking super fucking job, right? But that job tells you that you need a truck. So now there goes your car again. Now you got to fuck a truck. This is how the universe works. It's equal exchange. You got to remember that everything is fucking magnetism. You've never had nothing bad happen to you. You've had all the shit get out of your way to make room for you to have the things that you want, and due to the level of energy that you have, you can only contain a certain amount of things at a certain amount of time. So, now, there's ways that you can expand this exponentially by, adding on to your own energies, making it so that you can then bridge your way, right? Depending on whether you do negative or positive, depends on, where this is going to go, right? So the thing is that, the more positive you are, the stronger it strengthens that fucking positive side. All right, the more negative you are, right? Because you're not expelling anything. There's nothing leaving. You're bringing in. Okay? Everybody's got this idea that it's stuff that disappears. It's not stuff that disappears. You bring energy to you through the way that you think. Okay? So the problem is that not understanding the natural flow of things makes it so that you don't know how to control this shit. And it can be controlled. Okay? The thing is that right now you were taught something. Right? You were taught good and bad. You weren't taught equal exchange. Good and bad are perspectives. Equal exchange is nature. Okay? Alchemy. All chemicals of alchemy. So you can't sit there and keep all those negative ideas about men. All you're going to do is draw you in a negative man. You can't sit there harboring all them negative ideas about women, because all you're going to do is draw in negative women. There's women that you would deem negative. There's women that you would deem positive. There's men that you would deem negative. There's men that you would deem positive. If you keep harboring and harping on all of those fucking negativities, all you're doing is dragging your own fucking shit down into that. You're not affecting nobody else. You're just making it so that the universe knows that, hey, look, this is the type of energy that you get the most response from. And the fulfillment of the experience is the energies you express. So the mind is going to put you in that fucking category. So like I said, you have the choice. You have two choices. You can deem everything to be negative and positive, and you can always live with that dualistic idea, which is not natural. All right? The dualistic idea teaches you there's good and bad. That good has to have bad and blood. That's a crock of shit, okay? It's not how shit works. Okay? The more good breeds more good. It doesn't breed the opposite. They taught you that so that you would train yourself. I know my friend Desir got me out of it. It trains you to inflict what you would call negatives on yourself. It only affects you. You think that the world's negative, right? But it's not the world that's negative. It's you only running into what you would deem to be negative because that's what gets the most result out of your experience. You're drawing it directly to you. Okay? Being taught, okay, look. See, this is where I caught myself. Well, not me. My boy Desir told me this, right? Because I used to say this a lot. I always do my best under pressure. And I used to tell myself that I always did the best after I failed or after everything fell apart. I used to say that shit, you know, and my boy pointed out, I was like, yeah, but you've been telling me all this stuff, but look at what you're saying about yourself. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. I caught that. You get me? You got to be careful about what you're saying about yourself and what you think about yourself. You have to correct these type of things when they pop up, right? Because I wasn't really aware of it, that I was doing that when I was doing this, right? So it's nothing that I'm telling you isn't something that I've experienced myself. That's how I'm able to break it down in a way that makes sense, okay? The thing is that I had to realize this, right? I had to realize it. I had to realize the fact that I was programming struggles. You know, ever since I reprogrammed that, I don't have anything that you would consider a struggle. Everything just comes to me all the time now. And you will never hear me tell you any different. Because you have to live in truth. You have to accept reality. The more you accept it, the faster you fucking rule it, because it becomes something that operates off of how you think, right? Because you got reality, desire, and will. You get me? Reality does not have anything to do with what you're willing to do. What you're willing to do does have to do with your desires, right? But your desires in reality can be the same thing if you can learn that it's your will that brings them both into fruition. Right? This right here is the difficult one for most people. Okay? Because will is dictated by scenarios. Right? Will is altered. Like your mind gives you good, your mind will give you a bad. If you still got it trained that way. It'll say, hey, you could lose this, but you could gain this. Right? So what you're willing to do is based off of how you've trained your thoughts to process things. Yeah, exactly. Their project, exactly. See, the thing is that nothing comes to you the way that you've been told that it does. Right now, you think that you get stuff through money. You think that you get stuff through... No, not at all. Just because you have money doesn't mean that you can get things that you want. It's that's a tool, okay? Look, the thing is that as long as you keep convincing yourself that you need money to receive the things that are free, instead of convincing yourself that you are the money, and not all of it exists for you, you're going to be stopping things from coming to you. You know why? Because you'll ignore the stranger that was bringing it. Because you'll be too focused on the work. See, that program that they gave you, right? That program that they gave you goes against nature. Let's put these little windows on here. I know they're circles, but whatever. You get the point, okay? A little work building. Put some little smokestacks. Make it old school. Shh. Okay? Right now, you've got this crazy idea that you have to work for everything. You've been convinced of this. Like right now, even right now as I'm saying this, oh, what do you want me to stop working? How am I going to pay for it? Your mind is just fucking rotted. Okay, your mind is rotted the fuck out. With this idea that you can't have anything without this. It's rotted. Okay? Look. Because of this, you will stay too focused on yourself. And you'll ignore everybody around you. But everybody that's around you is the universe. So when you ignore others, guess what you're ignoring? All them things that you're trying to get. Because them things that you're trying to get, they're going to come from strangers. The universe doesn't know how else to get it to you. Right? But when you were a little kid, what'd they teach you? Don't talk to strangers. They've been working on you since you were little. How are they strangers? Everybody around you is connected to you. That's your fucking family. Hey, look. How many people in here have A- blood type? B, A, B. All right, how many of you have these different blood types? Right? Do you know your blood type? O. Yeah, I forgot about the O's. Okay, right? You notice how you notice how there's other people that share your blood? That's family. That's blood relations. Somebody shares your blood, Abel. Maybe not somebody in this chat specifically, but somebody shares your blood, sir. Or ma'am. I don't know which one you are. These are people that could die for you literally. It doesn't feel like that because you're not fucking welcoming your family to you. Bro, people come and talk to me, random strangers come up and walk up to me and talk to me all the time. I'm not by any means a friendly looking person in real life. I am 6'4". I am 220 something fucking pounds. Okay? I'm built I'm bigger than most fucking people that are like the average person walking around height-wise and size-wise. I'm not somebody that looks fucking approachable. I don't have a kind, cute, fuzzly fucking feeling about me when I'm out in public. Some people cross the street when I'm coming. But look, this is the thing, is people come and talk to me anyway. You know why? Because I'm always fucking reaching out to people. All y'all are sitting in here talking to me, right? I mean, thousands upon thousands of people come and talk to me every day. You haven't been seeing me build with the family? You guys think that people aren't positive right now. You guys think that things are horrible. But I come on here every day and talk to thousands upon thousands of people. If anything, you should be able to trust in the future that I'm building. If anything, if you can't find hope in anything else, realize you can go through my Instagram and see that everything that I've told you about that was coming true, which means that that future that I was talking about is also coming true, that has trees growing on every street, free energy, nobody needing to work, and people getting more intelligent by the day. That's the future that I've built in millions upon millions upon millions of minds across America for the last 4 years straight, and everything that's in the fucked up system is unraveling faster and faster the more and more that I do it. But you think that things are fucked up? All I see is progress. It's already starting. There's people growing fruits and fucking trees and fucking vegetables all over the place, fucking planting seeds randomly, like there's nothing. If anything, you can go and look at my every time that they told you that there was a conflict that was going on with Congress of somehow, I told you exactly what it was, how it was going to play out, and exactly what was going to happen afterwards. And it literally happened every single time like clockwork. Like I literally made it happen myself. But you don't trust that the future that I told you is coming. It's already here. If you don't see it, it's because you choose not to. You choose to focus on all of the distractions and things to show you all these horrific shit that aren't really fucking taking place. You get me? People are prospering right now. Things are getting more expensive, but more and more people are growing food. That means people are getting more intelligent, because if they're not eating the things that are coming out of the grocery store, then they're eating things that they grew naturally, probably out of their own saliva, which means that it's in tune with their DNA when they're consuming it, which means it's directly made specifically for them from the creator, and they're fueling their systems and their children's systems. People are waking up to the rights and starting to take control of all the things that they're supposed to and utilize it in the manners that it's supposed to. Congress is falling apart on a regular basis. They're over there scrambling with all kinds of distractions to keep you from pulling them out of the seat. You see the whole fucked up shit just collapsing. You see mad, desperate attempts at them trying to hold on to control to try to make it seem like they're in control, but you see them losing no matter which way they go. It doesn't matter. Nobody can please the people, because all the people know that it's time for it to go. They even told you that they were going to fail. What are you complaining about? What do you have to complain about? That's a beautiful future for everybody's next generations. All we got to do is squash the rest of this race bullshit. Once we can get that down and out the water, that'll be the end of it. But that's all going to clear up when everybody's armed to the teeth. Because all them people going to make a example of themselves, and then they're going to get made an example of. I fully expect things to get a little bit violent before massively rolling over into peace, because all of the outrageous people that should have been taken care of are going to be taken care of by the people due to the fact that they'll be able to again. And so peace will be back on these lands, and nobody's going to come to these lands because everybody will be armed to the teeth, and we'll be able to have our shit. We already have our shit coming back. You see all these fake tribes that are popping up everywhere trying to con people into joining them. Well, It's only a matter of time before people start accepting the tribes that people like myself are putting together. Once these tribes come together, that's where everybody's going to feel comfortable being under the umbrella of it, because the intentions were clear and the guidelines of it and the ideology behind it was fruitful for everybody that participates. They can't stop this shit. Why do you think they always take me down? Because I'm the worst catalyst they've ever seen in their life. I'm the worst thing for this fucking system to ever exist, because all I want is the old ways. And everything I do has been to dismantle them since I was a child, because I saw what they inflicted upon the minds of the people that were around me and my family and myself. And I recognize the patterns. And I've been on this I've been on this tip since I've been on the edge of the cliff since I was a little kid. I see people getting mad and hating people for no reason just because they feel like they need to fit in with people that wouldn't do anything for them. You understand? And that's a pain that people carry around. That's not freedom. That's not choice. That's not love. That's not healthy. You feel me? There's a lot of pain floating around in a lot of people, and I know how to unlock all that shit. Just come talk to me. I got you. But, you know, you got trust in me a little bit. I ain't shown you nothing but resilience. I'm one of the most unknown people in this country because they keep taking away my profiles. I should be up to like 5 million to 10 million people by now, but they keep taking my shit down. I was getting up there. They have to try to stop me because I'm a force that they're expecting. The difference between me and a lot of other people that I've found is that I try to produce you solutions. I don't focus on the negative because that's just bullshit that's getting out the way for the things that we want. That's why when you come to my page, I don't have you stuck fucking hating on the government. I don't have you stuck hating on men. I don't have you stuck hating on women. I don't have you stuck hating on people because they're white or they're black or they're native. Yes, I do go back and forth with the natives a little bit, but I have to stand on the truth. I won't waver from it. I love the natives. Don't get it fucking twisted. Like, I ain't got no real problems with them. They're, you know, they're not the people that did it. They're just the ones that are the product of it. Some of them are fine as fuck. There's some fine ass native women. Woo! Look, I love everybody. Okay, like, that's the thing. Is like, you know, like, y'all gotta get these ideas, because the thing is as long as everybody wants to progress, but as long as you keep beefing with these people, we can't have it. Even if they can't see that they need us, they know that they do. And even if we can't see that we need them, we know that they do. That we do. You can't do it without the other pieces, man. You can't run a car if you ain't got the alternator, or if the gas pump is missing, or if the fucking headlight, like, you know, you can run it without a headlight, but, you know, you're probably going to get in some trouble. You know, you might run into some situations or something. You got to have all the working parts. Yeah, all is one. Exactly. So, yeah, you know, you might see me going back and forth with them because, you know, I like to argue sometimes. You know, I have my fun. I have my fun debating people and stuff like that. You know, I like challenging my mind to see if I can rattle it off quick enough to keep them on their toes. All right? It's fun for me. I like the challenge of it. Okay? But it's not even the challenge of defeating them in the debate. It's just seeing the reactions to the reality that can't be ignored. That's what I look for. Because I look for those little moments of truth to let me know that I actually got through with something, regardless of whether they want to deny it or not. You get me? My big goal is to make them look. If they look, they're gonna find it. What's Once we stop this stupid beef, once we stop the beef, we'll be all right. We'll be able to finish this stuff, and it'll be great. There's room for everybody. There's houses for everybody. There's literally room for everybody in this country. That's why I don't get it, is there's literally room for everybody. There's places nobody's even touched. People are arguing with people all the way across the country about who's going to be where. What the fuck does that matter to you? Are you over there? Are they in your house? No. Fuck worrying about getting everybody out of shit. There's room for everybody to be in something. Do you think they got to build stuff like this? Do you think that these people had great civilizations, nations that were fucking expanding the entire scope of the world, and it didn't include everybody? Do you think that it's capable and possible by seclusion? Evolution doesn't work with seclusion. Whether evolution's real or not has yet to be seen, but I know that you can take black people and mix them with white people, but you know what I've noticed? You can only breed one species with one species and have it come out with successful stuff. Right? Takes some real work to splice stuff. These things weren't accomplishable through hatred. Nah, you got unalive for thinking like that. Those were the people that got sacrificed. Why? Because it was a sacrifice for the greater good. Why? Because the things that they were trying to do were trying to conquer. This was a nation. You go and look up any description of the people that were found here, and they'll tell you nobody owned everything. Everything was traded for free here. That's what'll make them great servants. They do everything for free anyway. They want to tell you they enslaved people. No, they gave land away. They gave land away, and the people that they gave it to turned around and tried to sell it to each other and fought over trivial shit like something called currency. You get what I'm saying? Like and it's not like the places where they came from were running out of space. It's not like the places where they at were this great thriving fucking thing or something like that. None of that going on. No, they just wanted to conquer some shit just in case they expanded it further. It doesn't even make some. It doesn't even make sense. This was an open, free exchange. All them great fucking buildings that you've seen, all those flying fucking devices, all that free energy. Everything was free here. Everything is still free here. Somebody tricked you into thinking you had to pay for this shit. Now, because of the fact that they took all the free stuff from the people, now nobody wants to work for the shit, because who the fuck wants to work for what was free? And that's in your DNA 2 generations back. Now they want people to try to conform to a fucking system that basically destroys family time and fucking makes it all about fucking generating income. Like, there's no purpose in this system except for destruction. It's all it does is destroy. It's a system of destruction. Self-destruction. It implodes on itself purposely. Yeah, I'll catch you later, man. Peace. Exactly, Jabes. Monopoly, buddy. Ain't none of that shit real, man. That's a grade of paper that's like 2 grades off from this. There's just some different colors in it. This has all that fancy stuff called words on it too. Why isn't that as much? How come that's not a $100 bill right there? Somehow people got convinced that ink on a piece of paper has value to it. It is worth trying to make. You see, you know why it was done? You know why it was done? To be at the end of the, you know what the end game is? Being able to buy authority. That's what it was really created for, was because people that shouldn't have been in power, in positions of power, wanted to find a way to put themselves in it that would require you to go through their system to attain it. See, before, people actually really got picked by the people. Just by observation. Man, he seems to be really good at building stuff and organizing stuff. And he's good at talking to people, and, you know, people really like him. Oh, we should follow that guy. See, the problem is they got you